back, my little nightmares. It's me, Queen Nightmare, and I'm going to do some Snarry. Chapter 25, you know? Ugh. I need to take my medicine, too. Harry fumbled for his wand as flames licked at his thick wooden beam. What the fuck? I don't know how to read this and that sound gross. Wooden beam supporting the small patch of roof above them. Professor McGonagall found her... This is what I have to deal with every day. Now it's across the street, not just next door. Damn it. Why did I lock it? I need to keep it unlocked. Okay. Found hers first and deftly quilled the flames. Within seconds, a second fire started, this one spreading up from the doorway they had entered from. Death Eaters. I'm going to call him KK because we already know who he is. He's the one that Snape was going to see. Said with little emotion. Still queasy from freeing both KK and Severus from Voldemort's attack, Harry forced himself to focus on the task at hand. He pulled his wand out and helped McGonagall. My voice isn't hurting anymore. Why is this doing... Yesterday, I almost read 2 hours of Drury, and my voice started to hurt up, you know what. Harry forced himself to focus on the task at hand. He pulled his wand out. Okay, I heard my cat. He pulled his wand out and helped McGonagall beat back the flames. We need to get out of here. Can you please make a portkey, Professor? Watch for fires, she responded. Picking up a loose stone, Porteous. Harry grabbed Severus and KK's hands and nodded at the woman. She placed her hand on Harry's arm, and nothing happened. It should have activated. This place must be warded. It was not when we arrived, KK growled. Then we fight, Harry said simply. But we'll never survive if in here trying to put out fires. Can you two walk? McGonagall asked the former Death Eaters. I can if I have to, Severus replied, but I am in no condition to outrun anyone. Harry can levitate KK while you protect them, Minerva. The wards surely do not extend more than a few hundred feet, few hundred miles. Whew! I don't want to run that long. I'd be like, I can die. And leave you here? Harry asked. You know that's not an option. I'll go out and fight. My cloak gives me an edge. Professor McGonagall, can you... Hey, bad kitty! You do not do that to the antique furniture. She ruins the antique furniture by clawing at it. Bad kitty, you know what you did. Don't come over here like you're sad. You know exactly what you did. She's like a little kid. What did I do? I didn't do anything. Damn it. Sorry. Harry went to sweep his cloak up about his shoulders when his professor stopped him. Cannot allow that, Harry. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, wait, no, it's her. I thought I was using first names. And I was like, wait a minute. You're not alone, my dude. You can't say that. Okay. Can't allow that, Harry, she said. You will stay here, and I will try to lead them away. I'm at my best when I'm attacking, Harry argued. And they'll never follow you anyway. Not if they think they have two traitors in here. I'm the only target they'll better than those two. He looked at Severus, hoping the man would see that his plan was the only that could work. As much as I hate to say it, Potter, but Potter, you're right. Unless the Dark Lord's inner circle is out there, he can handle it. And his training was not focused on guarding others. Son of a bitch. So I said last night I couldn't read Drarry I could only read Drarry at 7 at night. It sucked. It really sucked because they were still going on with the construction. I'm like, I can't read anything without being... I'm sorry, so you're going to have to, deal with it. I'm sorry about that. Not giving her a chance to argue, Harry stepped from McGonagall's grasp and donned his cloak. If I can lead them away, I'll activate my bracelet. If any of them get inside, Severus can use his ring. Outside, nothing stirred in the small clearing surrounding the cabin. Harry picked his course carefully, trying not to disturb any of the tall grass that grew in patches. When a ball of fire flew from a nearby tree to strike the building, he trusted to the others to handle the fire, instead focusing on the source of the spell. There, Harry thought, spotting the flutter of robes beneath a fir's limbs. But how many? Silently, Harry circled his prey, wary of other wizards hiding in the forest. As he neared, he spotted a second person, crouched next to the first. Both faced the cabin, and the fir trees crept closer. He crept closer. Unnerved by their gaze directed through him to their captured enemies as he neared, he was focused to put his entire body between them and the cabin. Branches and leaves guarded the path, and a step to either side would alert them to his presence. Another fireball spell cast now would catch him square in the chest. Wishing he knew if these two were the only wizards about, Harry decided that a spell would be too dangerous, as he could not cast without exposing his wand hand at least. He opted instead for a Slytherin tactic. Stopping several feet in front of the path, Harry ran his fingers along his potion belt, seeking a large bottle and its attached vial. Smart. I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking about maybe he could make throw something over that direction and they would go to alert for it, and then when they were looking at it, he would then spell them, because then they couldn't see his wand hand. You know what I mean? Turn their direction somewhere else. Maybe that's just me. But, anyways. Seeking a large bottle and its attached vial. Pulling it free, he uncorked the vial and drank its contents. Bitter, nearly nauseous. The fluid made him gag. He wasted no time removing the large lid from the other bottle. The liquid inside evaporated immediately as Harry went and reassuring tug the wind at his back. He smelled nothing, nor did he expect to. But within seconds, the two wizards in front of him slumped to the ground. Harry knew the gaseous potion would keep the pair unconscious for well over an hour. Across the clearing, sudden rustling alerted Harry to more attackers. They must have seen their friends falling. Upwind from Harry, they were they were safe from the particular ploy. And Harry knew they would be more alert now. Apparently, they had decided to take the fight to the cabin itself. 3 cloaked figures broke into the clearing and began hurling fire spells at the structure. Again, Harry hoped McGonagall and Severus and KK could handle the flames as he darted around the building to find a better place to attack them. He nearly ran into another group coming up to the trees on the other side of the cabin. 3 enemies had become 6. What? I thought there was only 2 over there. Oh, okay. Maybe I missed it, and maybe there was 3. I don't remember. I thought there was only 2. But what do I know about math? I'm not a math major. Okay. Harry could not face one set without turning his back on another. Oh, 3 different groups of enemies that make 6. Those are 6. So there's 8. So we're up to 8 people so far. Okay. I didn't understand that sentence, so that's why I had to make sure. Harry watched the Death Eater, another potion bottle in his hand. Harry watched the Death Eaters cautiously approach the cabin. The fires were still under control, but Harry knew that the 3 inside would not be able to keep up with the 6 out here. Rather than risk fighting enemies on 2 fronts, Harry positioned himself to take out the 3 closest to him in one maneuver. The sleeping potion bottle shattered at the front man's hand as Harry cast Expelliarmus at one in the back. The force of the spell blasted the man directly into the third, just as Harry had planned. With one enemy snoring soundly, Harry tossed another potion into the fray. Both the 2 others could sort themselves out. It shattered on top of them, splashing them both with viscous gray liquid. Once in contact with the air, the potion took on a life of its own, spreading out over the 2 men, covering them in thick gel, impossibly sticky, and it pinned them to the ground and held their wands and arms fast. Harry spent no time watching the potion work. However, as his actions had gotten the attention of another group. "Enough of this," one of them shouted with a voice Harry did not recognize. "I'm going in. One of them is invisible. Find him." The other 2 started throwing spells wildly in Harry's direction. He dodged a few, but most went nowhere near him. Ducking behind a rock to mask his exposed wand, Harry threw a blasting curse at one of the men. His target dodged and pointed in Harry's direction. He was pinned down but the rock would protect him for now. And a new vantage point was out of the question. Anyway, spells streaked at him too quickly for him to try to run. Invisible or not, knowing they were far... You know what I was about to say? I was like, why wouldn't he transform into an Amegus? And I was like, wrong story. I'm so sorry. I mixed the stories up just now, and I was just like, why didn't he turn into Amegus? And he doesn't have one. Knowing there were far enough away to dodge any curses, Harry searched for a new plan. Directly behind the men a fallen tree split just above the ground by lightning. Lay at an angle, risking a moment to stand. Harry's wand flashed of his cloak and asked, "Accio tree!" The trunk hurtled toward him as if it tugged in a great string. The men in front of Harry got stuck in the mid-turn, and Harry had a moment to panic when he realized that the spell had worked all too well. The mighty tree was indeed coming to him, and at far too great a speed to be safe. Dropping to the ground behind the rock, Harry curled into a ball and hoped for the best. If being sliced by bits of wood as it shattered on the stone was the best, then Harry got what he had hoped for. Alive, but scraped and bloody, Harry peered over the trunk, wary of the final wizard. Nothing stirred. Harry settled his cloak again about him and crept up to the cabin window. Inside, McGonagall's wand was pointed at the door. At her feet, the last attacker was spread dead or unconscious. Harry did not know which, and found he did not particularly care. These men had come to kill Severus, and no fate was too terrible for them. "I think that's all of them," Harry called softly into the doorway, before going inside and removing his cloak. There were 8 total. 3 are asleep, 2 are stuck together with oozing glue, 2 are either knocked out or dead. Plus whatever's wrong with that one. Harry pointed to the heap in the circle of the room. "Dead, probably," McGonagall said. "We 3 hit him at the same time. He might have survived 1 or 2 of us, but I doubt he can manage 3 blasting curses at once." "You are hurt," Severus said to Harry, his eyes taking in his bloodied face and hands. "Just scrapes. I sort of blew up a tree. I felt worse." Severus did not look satisfied, but kept his opinion to himself for now. "Let us hurry then, Professor McGonagall. More may come." Professor McGonagall said, "More may come." Severus and KK, I can't say his name right, so I'm going to call him KK, because I'd rather call him KK than screw his name up royally. And then you guys being like, "That's not his name!" Then I'll be like, "I don't know how to say it." Severus and KK stood shakily and assured the other 2 that they could walk. Harry took the lead, invisible, watching for trouble, while McGonagall guarded their backs. Nothing stirred, though, and when McGonagall guessed they had gone far enough to avoid the wards and the 4 portkeyed safely back to Hogwarts. Severus leaned on Harry for support. His legs, still unsteady, and ached from the phantom pain the Dark Lord had sent. As soon as the burning of the mark grew beyond a normal summoning, he had activated his ring and assured KK that help was coming. As he slumped against the wall, unable to stand upright through the pain and vertigo, he wondered how far Harry had been from Albus when he got the signal. Just before he lost consciousness, he knew Harry was coming. He wondered, though, if the young man would be too late. Granger and Weasley were waiting for them in the Albus's office. Severus forced himself to stand without help. The pair rushed over to Harry, anxiety written on both of their faces. "Perhaps you 2 should escort Mr. Potter to the infirmary," His wounds are not severe, but shards of rotting wood lodged in skin are not to be trifled with. What happened, Harry? Weasley asked as Granger took Harry's arm. Harry turned and gave him a suspicious look. He knew the young wizard would want to know about KK's defection, but what the man had to say could not wait, nor could Harry's injuries. Severus could tell Harry was about to say something and cut it off with a look he had given countless times before. With a raised eyebrow, he let Harry know that not only did he already know what Harry was going to say, he had already lost the argument. Looking annoyed, Harry let Granger lead him out the door. Do either of you need healing? Albus asked. And Albus was no healer, and Severus had received his help on many occasions after suffering injuries he could not explain to Poppy. Both men indicated that they were fine, and Severus took a seat, letting KK tell his story. Hours later, Severus finally strode past Salazar's bust and into his room. Hanging his cloak on the rack, noting that the archway was closed. He turned and said, I am alone. You can come out from hiding. It was a safe bet that Harry was waiting, and if not, the empty room would not care that he was talking to himself. A rustle near the couch revealed Harry. Severus's long stride took him quickly to the young man. He held Harry's face in his hand and tilted it toward the light of the fireplace. Running his thumb over Harry's smooth cheek, he said, What in the world prompted you to blow up a tree? It said some nasty things about Gryffindors, but be careful or you'll be next. I was like, wait, did he actually say something? No, it's just an empty threat. Well, Mother Nature told me to protect her. What? Out of all the things you could have said, you close this? Yeah. Say that. Yeah, why did he ask, why blow up a tree? He never said anything else. Like, are you okay? Let me look you over. Anything like that. But why did you blow up a tree? Yeah, I would ask that. That would be my second question. But before that would be like my concern. But that's it. I am always careful around you. The flailing manner with which you wave your wand about is likely to result in a lost eye. Harry smiled at him, wrapped his soft fingers around Severus's rough hand. You're feeling better then? Death is inanimate, Severus said dramatically, but the Dark Lord's presence is replaced with yours. Now I merely face impending aggravation. Flatterer. Harry stepped closer and embraced him. He was never much for physical contact. It generally made him uncomfortable, and he had cultivated a presence and a reputation to discourage others from touching him. Harry, of course, could not seem to spend more than a few seconds in a room without hugging him or leaning against him on the couch. When Severus had asked him if he had to nearly sit on top of him, Harry had simply said no. He did not have to. He wanted to. Me. No, I don't have to do that, but I want to. So are you going to tell me about KK? This is a little to tell thus far.
I spent most of the day making sure he was trustworthy. Albus is questioning him now about the Dark Lord's current plans.
It took that long. What about legilimency and vertiserum?
A wizard of his power can withstand both for a very long time, not appear to be fighting either effects. Albus is satisfied, though, and judging by your reaction, he was not feigning pain when the Dark Lord attacked me.
No, I can vouch for him for that. He was being attacked too. It wasn't as bad as yours when I got to him, but it's probably partly because I knew what to expect, and partly because I'd already turned your pain back to the Dark Lord. The impeccable timing, I might add, Severus added, feeling he should be in some way acknowledge that Harry had again saved his life. Wait, hold on a minute. I just noticed. He said that he doesn't like physical contact. Wasn't it him who was making out with Harry? That's physically contacting someone. I hate to say it, but I watched Poncho's channel, and it was this video that said, I just wanted to get my noodle wet. And it was 16. They were both 16. And he said that they had, you know what, the devil's tango before they kissed. And I was like, me and Poncho had the same expression. What the are you talking about, huh? How could you not kiss before you do the devil's tango? Huh? Ay, ay, ay. With impeccable timing, I acknowledged that Harry had again saved his life. I'm sorry it took so long getting to you. Then, first I had to get to the headmaster's office, then Severus silenced him with a brief, wait, I'm sorry it took so long getting to you. First I had to get to the headmaster's office, then Severus silenced him with a brief kiss. You came, he said, gazing into Harry's eyes, which is more than I deserve. Harry hooked an arm around his neck and rested in his head on Severus's shoulders. I was so scared I'd be too late. So was I, Severus thought. He ain't going to show his true feelings, Severus thought, but such things were not to be said out loud. He had thought many things as he lay on the ground waiting for Harry, as the pain grew and death loomed closer than it ever had been. The thoughts had all been about Harry. Not long ago, Severus would have only had the memories of his sins to torment him, even though the marks pain. The young man pulled away and smiled at him. Tea? Severus smiled and nodded. He settled into the couch and watched Harry move about the kitchen. He had promised himself as rescue became less and less likely that he would tell Harry how much he had come to mean to him if he had the chance. Now in the safety of Hogwarts, with the pain just a memory, it seemed melodramatic. Such declarations were meant for silly novels, not reality, and he had scorned such scenes when he read them. Plus, it would appear less sincere, coming after Harry just saved his life. Anyway, Harry was content simply to spend time together. He said such before. Well, honey, he actually really loves you. He does. He wouldn't have rushed to your safety, and he wouldn't have risked his life for your ass if he didn't love you. This is painful sometimes. Harry returned shortly with the tea. Severus pushed away his sentimentality and banished it as a reaction to his fatigue. "Oh," Harry said, sitting next to him uneasily. "I know you asked me not to, but I told Ron..." Oh gosh! No! Don't tell Ron and Hermione! I just cringed. Do I really want to read the next scene? I literally threw my phone. I got it. Hold on. Getcha. I'm literally shaking right now. Ron and Hermione about us. Ron already knew, and I had a thing for you. I'm not much of an actor, I guess. He could tell how worried I was yesterday. I'm sorry from not asking you first, and I told Hermione last night, while you were with the headmaster. He should have been angry, but the news was not entirely unexpected. One did not let Harry Potter into one's life without getting the rest of the group. That's true. But at the same time, I like that Harry Potter says, if you love me, you're going to have to love my friends. He's not like that. A lot of girls are like that. And I'm like, why? I'm going to dislike some of your friends if it's a dude or anything like that. I'm going to dislike some of your friends. That's just going to be a thing. I'm not going to love everyone. Unless I do, and that would be just cool, but it's not expected. You know what I mean? Sorry, I get really uncomfortable in my antique chair. You mean you are not much of a liar, not an actor? I do not expect you to lie to your best friends regularly, and I will not be the reason to begin to. It's okay then. It will have to be. They won't say anything. They don't have to worry. They may not lie to each other. We may not lie to each other, but we'll lie for each other. Harry grinned. As long as they do not believe that revealing this is in your best interest. Harry added, how long will Harry's friends decide he would be better off having a torturous Death Eater far too old for him? Harry looked unworried. You'll just have to keep being exactly what I need then. The following morning, Harry watched Severus sweep into the great hall for breakfast. To a quiet grumble from the student body, an entire day of canceled potions classes had led to any number of rumors. Everyone knew he never missed a lecture, and the theories on his absence had rang from a horrible brewing accident to open rebellion against the headmaster. Harry simply kept quiet. His housemates knew he and Severus were getting along better, but it would still appear odd to them if he stood up for the man. Not that Harry minded the rumors much. He shrugged them off, even the nastiest ones, as little more than foolish chatter. Severus was safe, and nothing else mattered. Hermione arrived late to the meal, her nose, as usual, buried in a book. The girl spent almost all her time literally trying to track down the last few spells Harry had seen used during the marking. She had not been doing research last night, though. When Harry had told her about his budding relationship with Severus, her reaction had proved that while she was certainly better in class than Ron, she was not nearly as observant when it came to her fellow students' emotions. For her part, she simply warned Harry to be careful, as Severus was much older than him. Harry had expected more objections, and he suspected by her tone that Hermione had wanted to say more, but she held back. Whether that was because Harry had just returned from battling Death Eaters, or for another reason was unclear. Either way, though, Harry knew he had her support and loyalty. Why am I such a Hermione? But I'm also kind of a Ron, but I'm a Slytherin. Now I'm just confusing myself. Okay, calm down. It's fine. Whoever commented that. Another book of obscure spells, Hermione? Harry asked her as she sat. She looked up confused. Oh no, ancient ruins. I didn't get a chance to reread the chapter last night, so I'm doing it now. Reread? Ron asked, looking as if he was in physical pain. Half the time, I don't read the chapter at all. Yes, you read them half the time. I read them twice. That's why I do 4 times as well as you. It's basic math. Ron looked like he was trying to figure out if Hermione's arithmetic was right. It looked like he was trying to figure out if Hermione's arithmetic was right. Frickin' A. Harry simply assumed it was to save time. As he turned the page, he caught a glimpse of a series of runes in the page. What runes are these? Harry asked her. They look familiar. Auxiliary. There we go. Ruins. Hermione explained. You've probably seen them before. What are they used for? Containing energy. They're common to almost all runic magic. So where would I have seen them? Harry knew he had seen the runes before. They were dancing at the edge of his memory. It's probably what the Voldemort uses, because remember when he put it on the book? That's probably one of the ruins. Am I wrong here? Ooh, I know. Wave the hand like Hermione in class. Reread goals right here. Bitch, shut your ugly ass up. We get it. You read the book before. This is all one person talking to themselves. I understand that. I go crazy too. Come on, Harry. You saw him reading. Come on. Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, Harry. You're an idiot. I'm an idiot too because I forgot. I'm an idiot because I have no idea either. Are you kidding me? That's the one thing that fell out of place. Like, it went nowhere in the book, like in this story. That he just happened to come upon that Voldemort was with his book making ruin markings on a book, being very calm while doing it. I guess I'm an idiot too. To be honest, though, I've been grinning like one of those one for the past few chapters. Same, just same. I understand. Anyway, Hermione said to Harry's frustration, they trap energy and provide power for connecting ruins. Asking where you could have seen them is like picking up a battery and trying to remember what you saw a battery in before. Or asking what potions need a cauldron for brewing. Gringotts uses runic magic for protection. They probably they were probably on the vault you went to with Hagrid before first year. I think there were some over the door at Sirius's house. They're all over Hogwarts, but but much more stylized. Hogwarts? Ron asked. Where? Everywhere, Hermione answered. There's just really, really fancy and look like decorations. Like the writing in old illuminated manuscripts, half letters and half art. Most of the school's wards are runic. They're best for permanent spells. I guess it's not important then, Harry said. Never knew I was looking at ruins all this time. I suppose a few stuck in my head. No, Harry, you'll remember. Still the familiarity tugged at him through breakfast. He finally pushed it out of his mind, refusing to dwell on it. He expected that once he forgot about the ruins, he would remember where he had seen them. Voldemort! By lunch, Harry had lost the nagging feeling, though enlightenment had not come. In the afternoon, Severus had Harry, Ron, and Hermione stay after potions to tell them the several members of the order would be in the headmaster's office that evening, going over what KK had told Dumbledore, not Voldemort. Did I call Dumbledore Voldemort in the last sentence? Jeez. And to let Harry know that KK had been given a ring to match his, and not. Fuck's sake. It's like they're in like a secret order. People are gonna be like, "Can I have a ring too?" Jeez. They were all anxious to know that the man knew, but as Severus was still in the dark about most of it, they would have to wait. He said nothing to them about their now shared secret, and Harry and Hermione certainly were not going to bring up the subject. So Harry followed his friends to the library and resigned himself to a Severus-free evening of homework. Luna and Neville were already there. Harry was happy to notice that they had been spending a lot of time together since Neville had come to her rescue that morning in the beginning of the term. They certainly made an interesting pair. Luna was almost as smart as Hermione, and Neville's confidence in himself. They had friggin' A. And Neville's confidence in himself had only been improving since the summer. It was not long before Nott approached and asked them if they could work on potions. As it happened, they were not, but Harry invited the boy to sit with them anyway. "How is it in the dungeon?" Harry asked. While the boy had not exactly opened up to them, he was a bit more willing to talk about things more personal than homework. As well as I expect. I suppose half the Slytherins hate me for escaping the Dark Lord, and the other half are afraid I didn't escape at all. But Professor Snape looks out for you, doesn't he? A lot of good that did me. Nott replied bitterly. Harry held his tongue, because you can't tell Nott that they thought he took it willingly. Hey, Hermione, Ron said, changing the subject. Any progress on the spells? No, Hermione answered, clearly upset. We're pretty sure we know what the... My finger is shaking. Oh, I'm having jitters and I don't like it. We're pretty sure we know what the last two are. As far as Not knew, they had gotten their information about the mark from Snape, not Harry. But there's still something missing. Professor Flitwick keeps saying that some kind of potion, but could bind the spells together into a single spell. But he's not about to suggest that Professor Snape didn't know about a potion. Anyway, Snape's expertise or not, he said the markings have been done after Voldemort had spent hours and even a full day with Death Eaters present. Whatever goes on during the marking itself, there doesn't seem to be any kind of preparation beforehand. So it all in our notes somewhere. Harry resisted the temptation to rifle through those notes. They were not supposed to let anyone see them, and were only to be looked at in the room set aside for the group doing the research. Not that the notes were that useful to Harry anyway. He did not have Hermione's mind for research, and most of the information they were going on still had Harry waking up, shaking as he relived Not and the rest ceremony. Suddenly, Harry jumped from the table. His friends looked surprised, and several students from each house glanced at him curiously. "Hey, Not, can you come with me for a moment? You too, Hermione. Everyone else wait here." Not looked suspicious, but agreed. "Bring your book," Harry added to Hermione. That led them to the corner of the library and held the tapestry of St. George. "I realize this is going to be uncomfortable, but I need to see the dark mark," Harry said. Not's face grew stony, and Harry held up a hand. "I don't want to embrace you, but it's important. Please, I'd ask Professor Snape." My alarm went off. "Please, I'd ask Professor Snape, but he's not here." Not clenched his jaw and looked over at Hermione. "I need her to see it, too. I think I know what she's been missing. What we've all been missing." If it took a physical effort, Not pushed back his sleeve and exposed his forearm. Harry grabbed a piece of parchment and beckoned the other two to the table. Looking between the mark and his paper, Harry drew a swirling figure. "Hermione, tell me if this starts to look like any of the ruins you've studied." "It already does," she replied. Pulling out her book, she turned to one of the earlier chapters. "It's a foundation ruin that goes first and causes the rest to act together." "My gosh! Harry, you're right! If the mark is a runic, that's the missing piece! The ruins are best at binding and controlling magic energy." "We need to talk to Dumbledore," Harry said. "Thank you, Not. If you can get this off of me, you never have to thank me for anything." "That's the plan," Harry responded. "Hermione, tell everyone that you figured it out. I'm going to the headmaster. He'll never let us all be all up while the order is there. So I'll come back as soon as I can." The gargoyle moved aside, and Harry rushed up the stairs, unable to wait for them to rise on their own. Harry carried him up to the office. At the top, he had enough manners to knock before pushing the door wide. Dumbledore sat at his desk as usual. Tonks and KK and McGonagall sat across from him, and several of the Order members stood along the wall. Harry spotted Severus in the dark corner and could not help but beam at the man. "I found the missing piece," before anyone had a chance to object to his intrusion. "It's not a spell or a potion. It's the mark. It's a runic. Binding and controlling, right?" "Are you sure, Mr. Potter?" Flitwick squeaked, grasping Harry's incoherent statements immediately. "It makes sense, but can you identify which ruins?" "Not all, but it starts with this one." Harry moved to Dumbledore's desk and laid the parchment down. "At first, I think," Severus interrupted and grabbed the paper from the desk, "that this conversation should be in more private company." "Don't you usually say that to get out of the room?" Tonks said lightly. Severus gazed at her coolly until she started to squirm a bit. "Shouldn't this be in more private company?" Did you just say that to Skip? I mean, yeah, of course, but... Information has never been shared freely within the Order. We all know the reason for that none of us would keep our secrets from very long under the Dark Lord's questioning. Albus, may I speak with Potter in the other room while you continue in here? Of course, Severus. Perhaps Minerva and Phileas should join you. They have been taking an active role in this, after all. Severus nodded, and the four left the room. "That was foolish," Severus said to Harry once the door was closed. "The fewer you know, who know you can see through the Dark Lord's eyes, the better. KK still does not know exactly how you saved him, only that it was you who did it." "I'm sorry, sir, you're right. I'm just excited. I think we can finally solve this thing." With the two other professors behind him, Severus gave Harry a soft, though brief, smile, before handing him the parchment back. "Explain." "It was dumb luck that I recognized a ruin from one of Hermione's books. But dumb luck's what I'm best at," Harry added, before Severus could get it in. "When the Dark Lord created the mark, he pressed the tip of his wand against your skin, and the mark kind of spread out from there. This," Harry pointed to the paper, "was formed in the first second or so. Hermione said it was a foundation ruin. After that, more lines started to grow out of that. I bet more ruins are formed as it goes, until it eventually looks like the skull and the snake." "What did it form after that?" Flitwick asked, excited. "Don't really remember. I was paying more attention to what he was saying, and it was kind of horrible to watch. It's not like drawing. Its skin's burning. I could smell it." Harry shook his head. "Anyway, I don't really remember. I remember this much, because it's still pretty simple. I think there was an auxiliary ruin, Hermione called it, for containing energy." Yes, that certainly makes sense," Flitwick said. I can't believe I didn't see it before." "I agree," McGonagall said. "Excellent work, Mr. Potter. 50 points. Where on the mark did you see the auxiliary ruin?" Severus asked,
The sooner we can break this thing, the sooner we all have the answers without hesitating. He exposed his arm and pointed to the mark. To Harry. Harry went to point at the figure with his finger, but quickly realized that not only would that contact put him in Severus's mind, it would likely scandalize McGonagall to see him tracing patterns along Severus's skin. Ooh. He went for his wand, but decided that bringing that into contact with the mark may have its own unexpected reaction. Finally, Severus reached in his robe and pulled out a glass steering rod. Harry caught his eye, amused, and accepted it. I am a potion master. Severus pointed out to the unexpected question. Unspoken question. What the heck? And wandering around with a steering rod in the pocket proves it. Harry whispered back. But would I lose points if I called you the potions nerd? Yes. Okay then. I won't do that. McGonagall and Flitwick huddled close, and Harry gave up the banter and concentrated on finding the ruin hidden in the complex form of the potion of the mark. It's 2. How do we sort out the rest? We would need to know the exact order in which lines were made, McGonagall said. If I stare at that mark long enough, I would quite certain I would find nearly any ruin. Severus, I don't suppose I only remember the pain. And if you ask KK or Mr. Knott, I am certain they will say the same thing. That is as the Dark Lord wishes it. Then we need to find out when he's going to do another marking. Harry said simply. I have to get my ring off. Oh, it's stuck. It's really stuck. I can't get it off. Oh. I need to stop curling my fingers because they get all swollen. Okay. Shit. Son of a... Come on. Please work. I don't care. I don't need cash. I do need cash, but I'm not going to use an app to get cash. YouTube's an app. Then we need to find out when he's going to do another marking, Harry said simply, hoping his voice sounded calmer than he felt. And I should probably start studying likely ruins, so I'll know what I'm seeing or looking at. Chapter 26. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances are you risking entering the Dark Lord's mind. He went into the headmaster's office and returned moments later, carrying a pensive. He handed the artifact to Harry. Must you always choose the difficult path? Someone commented. Called it. Harry, and of course Severus was worried about Harry. Suppressing a blush, Harry took the pensive. I hadn't thought of that. With practiced ease, Harry drew the thread of his memory out and placed it in the dish. Then set the pensive on the table. Well, shall we see what there is to see? McGonagall asked. We can worry about taking specific notes later. He's like a worried father. Absolutely not. Boom! Brings whatever he did into the picture.
Damn. He is not a happy person. Shall we see what there is to see? McGonagall asked. We can worry about taking notes later. Are you still going to watch? Are you all going to watch? Harry asked. He was a bit uncomfortable with the thought of his 3 professors all diving into his memories. Of course, Mr. Potter, McGonagall replied. The more minds on this, the better, I should think. Nodding in agreement, Flitwick climbed on a chair and joined the woman, peering into the Pensive. I have a working knowledge of ruins, but Professor Flitwick, okay, good grief, okay. I have a working knowledge of ruins, but Professor Flitwick and McGonagall are more proficient. If you would prefer, I will not invade your memories. Do you want to? Harry asked. Severus's hand twitched under his forearm. You can if you want. You have a right to see what he did to you. Perhaps, Severus said, but it is still your memory. Oh my, Flitwick said, his attention back in the present. Oh dear. The man slumped into his chair. McGonagall, too, had emerged. She looked pale and gazed mournfully at Harry as she nearly fell into a seat. Did you see anything useful, Minerva? Pardon? Oh, no, nothing useful. It's like... if someone only heard oh my and they fell back in their chair and looked mournfully at Harry, I could only think of what happened in that memory. Did you find anything useful? No, nothing useful. McGonagall stared at the table. They looked again at Harry. Oh, Harry, to live with such a memory! She stood and hugged Harry tightly. He could feel her trembling and suspected she was more in need of his support than wanting to give him hers. Still confused about his answer, though, Harry looked questioningly at Severus. He was frowning at the Pensive and must have sensed Harry's gaze as he turned to look at him. Getting answers from McGonagall and Flitwick seemed a lost cause. Harry nodded at Severus, who stepped over the Pensive and stared at it. To Harry's relief, Professor McGonagall collected herself, though the look of pity she gave Harry was one he would be happy to never see again. He only had to wait a few minutes for Severus to stir. Unlike the other two, he showed no emotion as he handed the Pensive back to Harry. Your attention's too strongly drawn to the Dark Lord's chanting and his emotional state. I cannot make out the lines from the marking, as they are burned in. Oh, Harry said. He had no real idea how the Pensive worked, but Severus seemed to think the missing information was normal enough. I'm sorry. Severus waved off his apology. You did not know the mark itself was important, and if you had, you would have probably missed some of the spells he was reciting. I still don't understand, though. If I was watching the whole thing, why isn't it in the Pensive? Memory is not a perfect medium. The Pensive can only show what your mind has processed. Some things may never enter our awareness, but they are still tucked away in some corner of your memory. The Pensive can draw those details out, but other things are missed entirely by the brain. Information that is never processed is missing from the memory. It is hardly surprising that your mind did not store the marking itself, given that
You were consciously focusing on the Dark Lord, was saying, not to mention the added distraction of his emotions and the response from the students. I still feel like I've let you down, Harry replied. That is hardly surprising as well, Severus commented coolly. Harry ignored the jab, aware of the presence of the other teachers. So it's back to my first plan, Harry said firmly. He hasn't caught me in his mind yet, and I'll be careful. It's just a matter of time before I catch him in another marking. To go through that again, McGonagall said. He turned away from the Transfiguration professor. The tone of her voice and the look of horror in her face were exactly why he had not wanted to share the memory in the first place. We must speak to the headmaster about this. We will not attempt any such thing until you have the headmaster's approval. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am, Harry answered promptly. With a satisfied nod, she stood and returned to the office. Flitwick gave Harry a reassuring pat on the hand before following her. Harry caught the white thread floating in the Pensive with his wand and returned it to the place among his memories he wished he had never had. Harry, Severus said, coming close to him. I want you to promise me that you will not go spying on the Dark Lord unless I and the headmaster are aware. I already told Professor McGonagall. I know all too well how you listen to your professors. I want you to promise me, though. I'll believe you if you promise me. You aren't leaving me with that much room to work with, Harry said, pretending to pout. That's precisely the idea. Now promise. Okay, I promise. Harry rested his back against Severus's chest. Severus's arm was around him. Harry ideally stroked the back of his head as he listened to the details of KK's defection. Wasn't he afraid the Dark Lord would punish him for turning in other Death Eaters after his first defeat? Harry asked. The Dark Lord demands loyalty to himself only. He knows that the best of his followers will do whatever they must to protect themselves, as long as that does not include betraying the Dark Lord himself. He cares little for the details. Lucius Malfoy used a similar tactic to remain free. KK knew, though, that ignoring last spring's summons would be suicide, so he returned along with the rest, unlike Malfoy, though KK was not pleased to see his old master return. So, he's like you? Harry asked, feeling an irrational sense of pride for Severus's change of heart so many years ago. I would not go that far. He is weary of being a Death Eater, yes. And as long as the Dark Lord remains, he is forced to a life of servitude that does not suit him. He seeks asylum not to fight with us. He'll practically be a prisoner here, though. He knows that. Trapped here is better than being the Dark Lord's beck and call. And the headmaster is not prone to torturing his staff and guests. Better company here, too, Harry observed, and stole a kiss. Did you know if any markings are coming up? Several students of the Drum Strong isn't that the Russian group? It's the Russian
all-boys group, right? Is that just me? I can't remember. Because there was Hogwarts, the lady school, and then the big boy school. Right? Yeah. It's been a while, as you can tell. Because Victor Crumb came from that school, I think. If I'm thinking of the right school. We'll be traveling to London in 2 weeks under the guise of school trip. The disposition of the students suggests they will come to be marked. Severus's arm tightened around Harry. I'm a bit surprised you're letting me do this, Harry said. If I believe you were only risking yourself for me, I wouldn't stand for it. But the ramification of removing the dark mark go far beyond any personal objections of being scarred thusly. Yeah. Harry twisted it around and kneeled on the couch, smiling at Severus. Want to know something? His eyes followed his fingertips as though they ran down Severus's cheek. I'm doing it for you. If it helps win the war and save the world, that's great, but I'm doing it for you. Severus's voice was nearly a whisper. Why? I'm not worth risking your life for. If the Dark Lord finds out. He hasn't found me out yet, and you're worth the risk. Severus looked away, and Harry rested his open hand on the man's chest. You're more than your past, Severus. You know nothing about this. Severus stood suddenly and walked to the fireplace. About guilt? Or about a past that won't leave you be? Harry watched Severus turn to reply and slumped back on the couch. I know it's not the same, but I don't want to argue. I just hate that you act like you deserve to suffer. You never answered my question, though. Severus said, his voice softer. Why are you set upon breaking the mark? Is it a reminder my mistake is unbearable to you? Harry shook his head. It's a reminder that you're not free, and that's unbearable. He held a hand for Severus to join him again on the couch, reclaiming his position against the man's chest. They sat in silence for a long minute. Harry poked at his lunch with a fork. Friggin' A, I can't say that sentence. But left most of the meal untasted. 10 minutes ago, the headmaster had come into the great hall. In a bad mood, as Harry could have seen, the man displayed. He had fetched Severus with a word and left without a glance at anyone else in the room. Severus, too, did not catch anyone's eye, not even Harry's, and now he was worried. Severus had promised not to leave the grounds without telling Harry, but when Dumbledore returned alone, he could not help but be concerned. Don't worry, Harry, Hermione whispered. If he had to go somewhere dangerous, the headmaster would have told you. Maybe he's brewing a potion for the order or something. Yeah, I'm sure that's it, Harry agreed, though he did not mean it. He resigned himself to slow afternoon and waited for potions class to arrive. Class did arrive, and though he entered the room to find Severus seated behind his desk, as usual, Harry was still worried. See, Harry, Ron said as they sat down. He's still here. Everything's okay. Hermione was probably right about the potion. Say it louder, why don't you? Because this is really irking me. Harry shook his head. No, something's wrong. Look at him. He's upset about something. Ron looked over at the potion master, who was growling at Neville for standing too close to the glassware. He looks normal to me. Friggin' A. Harry just shook his head again. After class, Harry stayed back when Ron and Hermione was with Ron and Hermione as everyone else left, expecting them. Severus said, "Miss Granger, Mr. Weasley, please wait for Mr. Potter in the hall." With the two gone, the door closed. Severus stepped behind his desk and gathered some papers. I am sure you noticed that the headmaster spoke with me this afternoon. He was aware that you have been spending... Oh, no! Headmaster, just let it go, please. Don't... No. Headmaster, don't ruin this relationship. As I am... Friggin' A. That was a big one. He is aware that you are still spending time alone in my chambers and wishes it to stop. Harry felt himself go numb. But how did he find out? I only told Ron and Hermione, and I know it wasn't them. How is immaterial, Mr. Potter. As the headmaster, I am certain he need not rely on gossip or student informers. The walls themselves have eyes and ears, as you know. The point is, you are a student and I am your teacher. And that is all. So that's it. It's over, just like that. I do not see any other option, Mr. Potter. Either of us can afford to lose the protection of the headmaster. What right does he have? He is the headmaster of the school and my superior. He is also legally responsible for your welfare while you attend here. You're not a danger to my welfare. I need you. The headmaster disagrees, and you and I are in no position to argue. Like hell I'm not! Harry spun around and stormed toward the door. You will not go to the headmaster about this, Severus ordered. Did you hear me, Mr. Potter? Harry, stop this instant! Harry slammed the door, leaving Severus yelling at the empty room, startling Ron and Hermione jogging to keep up with him. But he ignored their questions. He was saving his anger for the man who deserved it. Oh, shit. It's not like they're doing anything. Technically, he's not really abusing his power. He used it once. That pissed him off, and the wrath of Harry came down upon him. And he's not abusing his power in any way, like he's forcing him to do anything. Technically, he's in his 7th year, correct? How old was Harry Potter? Was Harry Potter? Fucking hey, bro, I can't. Sorry, I said the F word. How old was Harry Potter in, I can't spell, 7th year? He's almost 18. Leave him be. Please. I know that, yes, it's a teacher and student. Ugh. First year, he was 11. So, the beginning of year 7, he was 17. But it's already probably past December, and it's almost graduation. Let him be, please, Dumbledore. I'm begging you. The gargoyle gazed him impassively as he yelled at it to move. He knew Dumbledore would know he was outside trying to get in, but the statue refused to budge. How could he ignore Harry's pain like this? He pulled out his wand. You can't spell it open, Harry, Hermione said gently. You said you need the password. What's ever wrong? Talk to us about it. I'm sure the headmaster will see you when he can. He'll see me now, Harry said with clenched teeth. Alohomora! The gargoyles shuddered. Harry kept his wand pointing at the guardian. By force of will, he sent his energy through his wand, demanding that the way he cleared. Stone talons scraped along the ground, as if the beast was gripping the floor to no avail. Slowly it began to move. Harry kept his focus as he rode the staircase to the rooms. Finally, at the office door, Ron threw it open, stepped inside. Ron and Hermione kept cautiously out of the office. Though both peered through the door at Harry, Dumbledore was not alone. Remus was there, along with Tonks and Mundugus. You know the one I can't say. Harry, Headmaster asked, surprise for once showing it on surprise for which once was showing on his face. Oh my! Woo! Mikey, show some fire! I don't get it. It just reminds me of Hitorojima no Hero or something. My Hero. Yeah, My Hero. It's something about being my hero, and it's so cool. Oh gosh, do I even want to read this? God save us, right? Uh-oh. 2 people commented. He forced his way in with the power of love. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm like kinda... He's gonna say it in front of Tonks, Remus, and Dung. What the hell? Just kill Dumbles and get on with it. No! No wonder that person's comment is under review. Damn. You won't take Severus away from me. Oh my gosh. People, damn, just say Snape's first name in front of the other wizards. There are other people here, Harry. Whether to support him or be embarrassed, but I'm both all the way. Same. Tonks and Remus just staring like, what the fuck just happened? Tonks and Remus just shocked-faced. Ha 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 ha. Second-hand embarrassment is real. I suffer from it. That's why I have to skip some rom-coms when it's second-hand embarrassment, because I literally cringe and my whole body cringes and then my insides cringe. Literally. I really don't want to read what happens after that. It's just so awkward. Oh gosh. It is. My dear boy, I'm not taking anyone from you. You are both at Hogwarts, true? He's trying not to get his ass whooped. He's like, oh, my dear boy. He's like, don't fucking kill me, please. You know I said the F word. I'm sorry, but... My dear boy, I'm not taking anyone from you. You're both here at Hogwarts, true? He spoke in a calm voice. What the fuck is going on? On the other side of the room, the reaction from the Order members told Harry that they knew Harry's secret. That's not what I meant, and you know it. Damn! He's showing more fire than Luke ever did in the Star Wars series. Or Han, for that matter. Damn, this
This is embarrassing. I don't want to read this. Yes, I do, Harry. I'm sure you are feeling betrayed and hurt, but it is for the best. I cannot permit you to become involved in an inappropriate relationship with a member of my faculty. Who decides that? What's appropriate? Harry countered. He knew Dumbledore's calm, reasonable response were meant to shake Harry's resolve. He refused to be manipulated by the man. Well, Dumbledore said with a chuckle, I am the headmaster. It's my duty to protect you. Knowing his rage was fading, Harry decided to play the man's game. Protect me from what? From Professor Quirrell? From the basilisk? Protect me from the imposters who enter the illegally into a contests that set me against dragons? Or maybe you were supposed to protect me from Voldemort? I don't remember seeing you in the graveyard. Who's protecting me from your mistakes? The Dursleys? Damn! I'm suffering. I would be Remus and Tonks. You'd be like, you know what? I don't need to hear this. I don't need to hear this. You know? Where is Snape? Oh, burn! Dumbledore's beard is just got snatched. Go off! He's violated. Woo! Biatch, he just snapped his neck back and said, "Who the want to play?" Don't F with me. I got the power of God and Amazon. Friggin' enemy on my side. Ha! OTP. Oofed. Get him. Damn, spill the tea, sis. Those were all comments. This has nothing to do with any of that, Dumbledore responded, not raising to Harry's bait. This is about a member of my faculty exercising influence over you. Oh, hold on. Who started this? Who wanted to be with him? Harry started it. So he would say, like, if anyone had to be expelled, it has to be me. Because I came on to him. I instigated it. I would have said, it's my fault. I'll freaking get suspended. I don't give 7 shades of you know what. I'm at this point where I don't care. I can be suspended. I'll quit school. I don't care. Fight with me on this. I'm like that too. Don't worry. Influence over you. I know very well that Professor Snape can be persuasive when he wants to be. Very charming. Is that what you think? That he tricked me into caring about him? You did not care for him at all just a few months ago. In fact, you did not appear to care for men a few months ago. So he turned me gay. Harry laughed bitterly. Oh, shit. You know when you go off the deep end, when someone laughs bitterly at you, when you fucked up. He turned me gay. He laughed bitterly. I knew I was gay before I could stand being in the same room with Severus. But I grew up, headmaster. I stopped hating him for stupid reasons. He stopped hating me for ancient history. And you have no right. Wow. I am shaking because oh my gosh. Have you ever looked at your hand and you're shaking? Like you can't stop it? Like it's a tremor? I can't. My whole body wants to shake with anger. I have every right. If you will not see reason, I am sorry, but that is not required. If you wish to remain a student here, you will not spend a moment alone with him. Is that clear? Harry glared at Dumbledore, an order and a threat. It was a bluff. Dumbledore would never expel him for this. He needed Harry. In fact, he needed Harry more than Harry needed him. Understood perfectly, headmaster. He met the man's gaze coldly.
emptying his mind and protecting it from the other man's. The night bus should have me back at the Dursleys by dinner. Harry, you can't! Remus blocked the door. You know who will know if you leave. He'll find you, and the minute you leave the Dursleys' house, he'll kill you. He's going to do that anyway, Remus, Harry replied. Whether I'm leaving the Dursleys, or here, or Grimmauld Place, what's the difference? Harry, Tonks said, laid a hand on his shoulder. Be reasonable. If you care that much for Snape, if he really does care about you, what's the rush? Once you've graduated, you know who's gone, and you can do whatever you want. Harry shrugged the hand away. Voldemort's going to kill me, he replied softly. The best I can do is kill him, too. Anyway, everyone knows it, but no one wants to admit it. That's not true, Ron said. You'll win. You have to. I won't, and I can't. He's stronger than I am, and he's a better wizard. I'll do whatever I have to, but to make sure that he doesn't survive too. But there's no way I can beat him and save myself. It's okay. I've accepted it. But sometimes I forget when I'm with Severus, and I feel normal again. He turned to the Dumbledore. But don't I deserve that? The headmaster did not respond. He simply gazed at Harry with the same look he had during Harry's explosion in his office after Sirius died. Harry felt his anger turning, and without another word, he pushed past Ron and Hermione and down the stairs. He could hear his friends following, but did not slow down for them. Instead, he made for the Gryffindor Tower, did not stop until he was in his dorm. Hey, Harry, Dean called to him. What's going on? Harry, hands shaking, Harry replied, I'm leaving the school. He opened his trunk, shoved his books in. Right then. Take care then. Why do I feel such Dean energy, though? Take care then. Dean answered with a laugh, finally catching the other boy's expression. His eyes grew wide. Harry, you're serious. This is effing funny to me because I relate to it. For me, yeah, someone else said that. Before Harry could answer, the door opened as Ron and Hermione caught up to him. Ron rushed to his trunk and slid the lid closed. What are you doing? He demanded. Harry stepped back and laughed harshly. You're right. No need to pack, I suppose. I won't go far enough to worry about unpacking. Harry, you can't leave. He's not worth it. Really? 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 Oh my gosh, this hurts me. And I am who I am, and I don't get hurt by this. Like, he's not worth it. So when you grow up, when you're having someone's trying to pull you apart from your true love, and I say he's not worth it, how would you feel? Okay? I'm sorry. I'm absolutely fucking pissed. I can't right now. Don't you ever say that again, Harry replied. He's Severus's dark form in the doorway, quieted Harry. The potion master strode calmly into the room. Granger, Thomas, Weasley, leave. No sixth earwig could mistake the anger in his voice, and Dean closed the door and was out before the last word was spoken. Ron looked hesitantly until Hermione grabbed his arm. We will see you're not interrupted, Professor, or overheard. Severus nodded in her direction, but did not take his eyes off Harry. When the door was closed, he moved closer, still tense with rage. Have you completely lost your mind? Wanting to be happy is crazy, Harry shot back. You will have no time to be happy, Severus's eyes flared. Listen to me. He will find you instantly you step off the grounds. You cannot apparate. You will never make it to the headquarters or the Dursleys. I know that. Then why do you insist on meeting him so quickly? Harry sat heavily on the trunk. What's the difference? It happens now or later. Every day you train, you become better equipped to it. Every day I train. He's training too. Maybe not training, but he's becoming stronger. He's not sitting around waiting for me to catch up to him. You know it as well as I do. He's probably working on 10 new ways to kill me right now. Why fight him at all? Why fight him at all, then, if you are so sure you will fail? I don't expect to fail, Harry responded. I do have an advantage. I won't give him the chance to use his skills or knowledge. One spell, strong enough to kill him before he kills me. He will be heavily shielded by his own spells. A spell strong enough to penetrate his defenses and kill him will drain you completely. You could never survive having that much power pass through you at once. I know, Harry said softly. The prophecy said one of us had to die, but it didn't say we both wouldn't. There's no way I'm going to get through this. So the next best thing is making sure he doesn't either. And I don't need any more training to do it. How long have you felt this way? Harry shrugged. A while, I guess. Maybe I've known since Dumbledore first told me about the prophecy. I just didn't want to face it. You intended to make me care about you and then run off to be taken away? Of course not! Harry looked alarmed. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't expect this. Any more than you did. I never thought you'd give me a reason to want to stay alive. But if I'm not allowed to be happy anymore, what's the point in waiting? It's better for everyone if it's finished now. The headmaster will never allow you to leave. You can't keep me here. I'm stronger than he is, and you said that yourself. I said no such thing. And Albus Dumbledore is not an enemy, Harry. You said you've only known one other wizard who could cast that spells, and I did not. I did without getting tired. You weren't talking about the headmaster. If he's doing this, then he is the enemy. Maybe he's not evil like the Dark Lord, but you know what? I was never fighting because he was evil. Everyone in the Order acts like I'm some saint fighting for some moral cause, but I'm not. I just want to have a normal life. I don't want to live. I can't have that while he lives. Are you speaking about the Dark Lord or Dumbledore? Harry shrugged. Add in Bellatrix Lestrange. You've got the whole list. Everyone who took away someone. I care about. Harry, being told you cannot see me outside of class is hardly any part of losing your parents or your godfather. No, it's not. In some ways, it's worse. I never knew my parents, and I barely knew Sirius. But I know what Dumbledore's trying to take from me. So you chose suicide out of spite. Haven't you heard that? What I've been saying? It's not suicide no matter what. It just doesn't matter anymore. The door opened and Harry's jaw clenched at the sight of the headmaster entering the room looking somewhat terrified. Ron leaned from the hall and closed the door. Professor Snape, I think you have done enough. Please wait for me in your rooms in the dungeon. No, Albus. Unexpected, Severus sat down beside Harry. No, Albus, I don't think I will. If Harry is going to rush to his death because of this, I will not have him do this alone. Severus. Dumbledore responded, his voice still calm and congenial. Why don't you fucking do the battle now? That's my question. Yeah, they may be a little bit unprepared, but it's better to do it now than never. That's all I'm going to say. Surely you do not believe I would allow it. Know that. The doors are warded against Harry's leaving for now. Once he has calmed down a bit, they will be removed, of course. Harry chose not to respond, expecting nothing less than being kept a prisoner. He decided there was no point in arguing anymore. Severus, though, persisted. Harry's fully capable of tearing down your wards, Albus. I have trained him long enough to know that. And Harry knows that as well. It will weaken him, of course, but you cannot hold him if he does not allow it. Do you really want him to meet the Dark Lord after breaking free from this castle? Would you have him drained before fighting you? I'm hardly sending him out to meet his death, Severus. I am trying to keep him here, if you recall. Doesn't matter, Harry cried, frustrated. Neither of you are listening to me. It doesn't matter if I leave. When I leave, it's going to end the same way, no matter what. Just let me get over it. Harry glared at Dumbledore as he laid the hand on Harry's shoulder. Surely, you do not believe that Harry cannot survive this, Severus. There was edge in the pleading in Dumbledore's voice. Good plead, beg, you absolute idiot. But you have to look at this as an adult standpoint, too. Dumbledore has to take care of Harry. He is the savior. If he leaves, they're all screwed. Everyone in Hogwarts, they're all screwed. And they can't get rid of the mark if Harry's not there, too. Or save any of the people who are there with the mark. What I believe does not matter. It's what Harry believes. I cannot keep him here any more than you can. Not from across a classroom. In despair, Harry leaned against Severus and waited for Dumbledore to speak. Well, the headmaster replied, it seems I have little choice. However, I must insist on following the rules. He held up a single finger and started to speak, but Harry interrupted. No, whatever it is, no. No one gets to take away any part of this away from me. From us. We're going to keep it a secret, please. Because it's how we want it. So I'm sure that'll keep you happy. He turned his head without waiting for an answer and leaned into Severus' chest. Moments later, the sound of the door opening and closing told the headmaster's exit. Alone again, Severus turned and stared down at Harry. You, he said in a strained voice, are not going to die. I did not waste time teaching you everything I know about occlumency, hexes, curses, and combat to have you run off and settle for taking the Dark Lord out with you. Severus was not how it was supposed to be. This was not how it was supposed to be. Severus was his hope, his escape from this. The old man knelt in front of Harry and cupped his face in his hands. Do you think I would have allowed myself to care this much about you if I thought that you would not survive this? You are not entirely irresistible, Mr. Potter. Despite what your fans say, I am more of a coward than you are attractive. Ooh, wait a minute. Is that a diss? Wow, Snape really whipping out, you have bewitched me, body and soul. Okay, so he is saying that. For real, though. That goofy grin is still here. So is mine, same. So is mine, ditto. Cute, damn. Agreed. When are they gonna have children? Sorry. Well, I mean after this, not now. Jeez, I don't think they can handle a kid. Okay, guys. I'm gonna end it here. As you can tell, I was crying through when I was reading, but I thought crying would add emotion. No, I'm kidding. I was actually crying because it was sad to me, and I felt like I was Harry, and I was just over it. Yes, but you have to also remember the Juliet law. Someone in power cannot date someone that is under the age of 18. That's the problem. But at the same time, so we have 5 chapters left. Shit. Sorry about that. I'm just a blubbering piece of work. Let's just say that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this one. And I hope to see you in the next video. And also, don't go fall for your teachers. That's all I ask. Don't go falling for your teachers. And to keep yourself safe. And why am I burping? I didn't drink anything. And I didn't even suck any air. I am so... My eyes hurt now. But I hope they stay together and they can stay in school. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye. Forgot. Be happy, be healthy, and always be loving. Bye-bye.